you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Well, ladies, this is one of those days that I feel like nobody even needs caffeine.
Yeah.
You're just so excited
I
to
had
wake
coffee.
up.
I don't know what you're talking about, Lauren.
I'm just saying need it. We don't need it because we're so pumped up. We are ready to go. We've been waiting for this day for months, and it's finally here. And oh my goodness, it feels like all eyes in the NFL are literally watching the Jacksonville Jaguars and what's going to happen. Before we get into some of the latest rumors and scuttlebutt, tell everybody, like you heard Mike Dempsey say it, tell everybody, though, the plans for 1010XL today.
Yes. Where do we begin? Well, of course, in case you missed it, we had a special draft day edition of the Duval Rundown podcast, myself and Gus Logue this morning. You can listen to that on demand at the 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel as well as the podcast network. We are live here at 1010XL World Headquarters. We will be joined shortly by one Daniel Hicken live at the Lemon Bar. Yes, the Jaguars official draft party. The doors do not open until 6, but 1010 is on site. The restaurant is open, and so you can head on out to Lemon Bar a little bit earlier if you choose to do so. Dan is out there mingling with fans as we speak, and we, of course, will show you and bring you, Dan, here live on the air in just a little bit. That'll be the case until 7 p.m. At 7 p.m., after our daily programming concludes, we will have the Jaguars radio broadcast of the draft from 7 to 10 p.m. That is on 92.5 FM, 1010 AM. That will be led by Frank Frangie and Jeff Lageman. If you are following along on the social thing, if you're watching on YouTube, we will have, if you've never done it before, it's a lot of fun to have a watch party, side-by-side viewing experience, and we are bringing you that here on the 1010XL main YouTube, 1010XL Jaguars, and X Twitter feeds. Gus Logue will lead our coverage alongside Hacker and Campo. Myself and Hayes Carlyon will join from the Miller Electric Center. ET will be holding down the fort at the Jaguars draft party at Lemon Bar. So many appearances. You can get in on the conversation, leave a comment, leave a chat. We'll show some of your chats live, and we are looking forward to having a lot of fun and bringing you full play-by-play of the 2025 NFL draft. I'm running off set if you're watching YouTube right now because we have a pretty template that I forgot to show RJ. Here, RJ, I'm coming.
ET, I don't know if he's going to be holding down the fort at Lemon Bar or holding court, Taylor, knowing his personality. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I would say today is a really good day to have Bob Beler on. The voice of Boise State football. You booked this guest weeks and weeks before all of this Ashton Genty to Jacksonville chatter begun. But I will say, because we talk so much college football in this program, we've been talking about the different stars that would be heading into the NFL draft for months. We started talking about these guys in September, October, November, December, certainly the college football playoff. And so we've been talking about Ashton Genty and the fact that he has ties to Jacksonville for a long time, but it'll be fun to hear what Bob has to say at 120.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And when at first, because we were kind of going through some of the players that the Jags may potentially draft, and we had John Jansen to talk about, Mason Graham, obviously. And then I was like, I feel like we have to have somebody to talk about Ashton Genty. And so when I reached out to Bob, it just so happened that he also was the director of broadcast when Liam Cohen was quarterback at UMass. So he has connections to Liam Cohen. He was there all 5 years. Liam Cohen was there playing as a player. And so it was just a kind of cool extra little connection that I think is perfect timing for Jacksonville. And so when things align that way, you got to go with it.
One other thing that aligned really well is One Night Taco Stand decided to stop on by. And so many thanks to them. We've got a giant burrito. We've got enchiladas. We've got one of the most beautiful salads you will ever see, the One Night Taco Stand salad. And then I got a pollo rico, which is chicken covered in queso and onions with refried beans and rice. It is absolutely delicious. So lots of good stuff there at One Night Taco Stand. We thank them for sponsoring Mia's mock draft for the past few weeks. And yeah, we are almost there. I want to run down the schedule as far as the Jaguars are concerned. Tonight after round one, we will get to hear from James Gladstone and Liam Cohen. And then tomorrow night, get to hear from the first round draft pick or draft picks potentially. And then also the GM and the head coach once again. And then James Gladstone and Liam Cohen also Saturday at the end of the draft. So you will get to hear from them after each round concludes and get to obviously hear them weigh in on the different guys that they've selected. This is not throwing shade at Trent Baalke, but I feel like the listening will be a little bit more enjoyable this time around just because James Gladstone is such an effective communicator. Okay, This morning, Jonathan Jones from CBS Sports, we're going to try to tackle some of these rumors, says that the Jaguars could be very aggressive, that he has sources that are telling him the Jaguars have strong interest in moving up the draft board. This is not something that we've really discussed at length because I don't think any of us thought the Jaguars would be willing to do something like that when they specifically told us they're looking for more draft capital.
Yeah, and we have talked about that, but I also have several times said he's coming from a place that trades up for the people they like. So I think that you take a little bit, and we're hearing all sorts of things. That during Jaguars Today, every single person that was on had something else at 5, something different at 5. So I truly don't think anybody knows, and some of that is because they didn't have those top 30 visits. So they weren't, they've just been really secretive. I think a lot of teams, honestly, this draft they've been keeping things a little closer than maybe previous drafts, and so it will be interesting. But me and I were talking about it in our office before this, and I was like, I wouldn't be mad. There's several options I would not be mad about in this draft, and that makes me a little more comfortable because there's been years where I've been like, if they pick this player, I'm going to lose my mind, and then they pick the player, and I'm like, dang it.
They love Travis Hunter. As I told another source for another AFC team, though, this morning, I also love $1 million. And I would love to have $1 million, but at this point in time, if I'm to accrue that in a one fell swoop, there's probably going to be repercussions on the back end on my part. And I'm not even going to get into the game of investing. But the point being, I would also like to win the lottery.
Yeah.
And so
the Browns will be like, take Deshaun Watson.
Can you
we'll take Trevor.
Right. Can you ultimately mortgage your future for a player who, while yes, would provide you and fill 2 holes and
maybe.
See,
I'm not even sure that I believe that he could fill 2 holes at this point. Like as far as what you're saying,
hole and a half.
To play
I had a lot of questions. I want to be completely transparent with the Hooligans. Yeah. I was very skeptical of this idea of not only Travis Hunter playing multiple positions, but if in some miraculous fashion he was to fall to the Jaguars at 5, like so many were speculating about 3-4 weeks ago. I was even questioning then the fit from the perspective of we didn't know what type of defense Anthony Campanelli is going to run. And I am more confident today, especially knowing the system, the personnel in the building than I was 5-6 months ago when the thought of, well, maybe the Jaguars will be picking 2nd or 3rd prior to them being cemented at that 5th spot, at least at the starting line. I was even questioning then, well, but is he the type of corner the Jags need, depending on what the scheme is going to be? I'm very confident here today that not only would Travis Hunter fit defensively, not only would he fit and potentially be a fit at wide receiver, which, let's be real, outside of edge rusher, may be the most underplayed storyline of need in Duval County right now, but also that he would be another pillar face of the franchise for your team. And so that is where the question becomes, what are you willing to give up? Gus Logue said to me this morning on the Duval Rundown podcast, the numbers he ran, this year's first, probably a day 3 selection this year, next year's first, next year's second. That is where I find some questions, though, because James Gladstone has also gone on the record and said that he wants more at-bats. Mm-hmm. He wants more chances to swing for the proverbial fences. And so that is where would you be willing to do that, even if, again, for the argument's sake, it would be the equivalent of you took a cornerback this year in the first round and you're taking a wide receiver next year in the first round.
We have no idea what their record obviously is going to be this year.
Correct.
And so to me, when you're leveraging the future for one player, and I still don't know which way he would play for the Jaguars. I don't know if he would play receiver. I don't know if he would play corner. I'm just going to go on record and say I don't think anyone in the NFL can play 50% or 100% of the time and play all the defensive snaps, and all the offensive snaps in every game, which I guess some people believe maybe he can. I guess I just don't believe that. I would be upset if the Jaguars were to mortgage their future for Travis Hunter. I think Travis Hunter is a stud. I think he's a star. I think he'll be really good at either position, whichever one he ends up landing in. But what if the Jaguars win only 2-3 games this year? And so that's another really high pick next year and then another really high pick in the second round too. For me,
that you'd be giving up.
Right. To me, you only do that for me if it's a quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback and you are totally sold on the quarterback that you're moving up for, that's the only way to me, because that's worth all the future picks if you are able to land the quarterback.
Yeah, or like I wouldn't even, like, positional wise, I'm not even mad about that. If a team if a team thought they were close. Like if it was a team, let's even say like the 49ers, who are not a bad football team. They obviously kind of just had some bad luck last year and dealt with a lot of injuries. And a player like that on an already good roster could complete a lot of things for them. They've had some of the issues when it comes to contracts with their wide receivers. And then you talk about that secondary in certain times last year they struggled. And so a lot of that was injuries. It surrounds a lot of injuries. But still, as somebody like that, I'm not saying that is anything that's close to happen, but a team that feels they are close to win and they're like, that's fine. We don't really need our next year first round pick because we're hoping it's 30 anyway. So who really cares?
Yeah, it certainly depends on the team and what their plan of attack is and where they are. Like the 49ers, some people actually think are rebuilding at this point in time, which is crazy. But yeah, if it's a team like the Bills or the Ravens, the Chiefs, imagine Travis Hunter on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They're not
I don't want
to. Great counter argument off the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures from 514. Travis Hunter can play two positions, but if he gets hurt, you lose two players.
Positions. Yeah.
Yes.
Also true. Look, I think from my standpoint, everybody had Mason Graham locked in for so long. And then obviously it has completely shifted. And now everyone, and when I say everyone, I mean nationally, has Ashton Genty locked in at this point in time. Is that the biggest smokescreen you've ever seen? Because they want Taylor Doll's Bears or another team like the Broncos
so that
to
they
move
get
up
more targets.
Correct. Like it feels like that maybe is where some of this comes from. But I have said multiple times, Taylor, I know you're the same way. If Ashton Genty's the pick, let's go.
But is Taylor that way? X-Files music, RJ. Are you all in on Genty?
Oh, for here?
Yeah, at 5.
Yes. If Jeanty is on one of the two teams that I cheer for, whoever it is, I would be very happy. I truly, there's probably 4 or 5 players that they could get at 5, in my opinion, that I would be okay with. And not saying I'd be ecstatic about some, but I wouldn't be mad because I do think that they would fill holes that would help the Jaguars immediately. And I just want a player that's good. Like, I just want to draft somebody that you're talking about pretty soon, immediately in 1 year, how we were with Brian Thomas Jr. this year, saying, like, that was the right pick. You made the right selection. And then also you're wanting to build for the future, too. And Liam Cohen said that. The one quote I keep bringing up is from the one presser, and he said, the goal is to get better quicker with having a vision to have long sustained success. At the moment, we're looking for winning right now. And that quote has skewed my thoughts so much of what I originally thought they may do compared to how I feel right now today.
All right, we got to say hello to Dan Hicken-Lev at the Lemon Bar, but yes or no for you, from what you're hearing, are the Bears interested in moving from 10 to 5 to get Ashton Genty?
Yes.
Okay, so there we go. We'll delve more into that, but we will check in from the Lemon Bar with Dan Hicken on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on Draft Day on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The race is on.
3 wide and 2.
This Sunday at Talladega.
Talladega Super Speedway.
Can you believe this?
Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. From the station with the most horsepower, 1010XL.
The joys of home ownership. Until the plumbing backs up, the AC goes out, or your septic system decides to act up. The good news? You don't have to call 3 different companies when things go wrong. Just call my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. Mia here. They are your one-stop shop for plumbing, septic, and air conditioning, all under one roof. So whether it's a leak, a clog, or your system just won't cool, they've got you covered. Don't take my word for it. Check out their 5-star reviews on Google. From the moment you call to the moment the tech solves your issue, you'll get first-class service every step of the way. Give them a ring today at 904-862-6769 or visit them online at duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. One call does it all.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all-you-can-eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Get a healthy start in 2025. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to encourage you to get healthy and stay healthy this year. They have a dedicated team who are committed to providing quality care. The goal is to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Visit duval.floridahealth.gov to learn more about their health programs and services. That's duval.floridahealth.gov.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
It's kind of like his own private locker, and you're his guest.
Every time we talk, I'm reinvigorated by my love of the game.
Hayes Carline here. Find my blog at 1010XL.com.
Hayes Blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate. Free Comic Book Day. Hey, I'm Ben Kay, owner of Gotham City Limit, your local comic shop, inviting you to the Community Party of the Year, Saturday, May 3rd. Free comics, free food, huge discounts, and more. Let's take Free Comic Book Day to the limit, Gotham City Limit.
Hey Jacksonville, Lauren Brooks here for Big Chief Tire. If you need new tires, Big Chief has affordable options to fit every budget and every vehicle. Their team of experts will help you find the right tires and make sure they're installed quickly so you can get back on the road. Don't wait. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your appointment and explore their great tire deals. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball is home at the newly renovated 5-Star Ballpark this weekend as the AAA Atlanta Braves are in town. Join us tonight for Coors Light Thirsty Thursday, fireworks tomorrow and Saturday, catch on the field before Family Sunday. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
Living on Amelia Island, having fun in Bernardino Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mocama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect pilsners and lagers, matching memories and some Mocama magic is what it's all about. Mocama Beer Company in Bernardino Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mocama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
Hi, I'm Jeff Breyer, President of Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring.
And I'm Zach Breyer. When my dad started in business in 1990, I wasn't even born yet.
That's true. And after 35 years and nearly 20,000 satisfied customers, we literally have a showroom in every neighborhood.
So whether you need more outdoor living space with a glass or screen enclosure, or you're looking to transform your home with new flooring, we've got you covered.
Visit our websites, or better yet, do yourself a favor and stop by one of our showrooms on Phillips Highway to experience the Lifetime difference and receive 20% off your purchase.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
The song goes, my baby wants a Birkin. Those purses, by the way, run you right around 50 grand.
That's all.
But what do the Jaguars want? Let's check in with Dan Hicken live from the Lemon Bar in Neptune Beach. Dan, set the scene for us.
Oh, Lauren, if these streets could talk. Oh, the memories out here. I'm an old guy now, but used to be some great running area over here, man. I mean, this is where it's all about. Shoot, I met my wife across the street over here, Lauren. Come on.
That's great.
Yeah, the Lemon Bar is doing it up. The Jags look like they're setting it all up. It's going to be this is Jacksonville, baby. You come out here, what do I got? I got the beach. I got a pool. I got a bar. I got hotel. I got fans who are hanging banners in hotel rooms. I guess they're spending the night. So, yeah, it's early, obviously, but it's going to be a lot of fun out here throughout the evening. I'm not going to be here all night, unfortunately. I got to go work on the TV side at downtown, but this is cool, man. It's a good place to come have fun.
Heck yeah, you're in my neck of the woods. Where did you meet BWR? Was that Mezzaluna?
Ragtime, baby. Ragtime.
R.I.P.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I've got my claws in her right away on that one.
Yeah, you did. It only took
Beauty and the
6
Beast.
weeks, I think.
Beauty and the Beast, baby. We were engaged 23 years ago. So all good.
Dan, the understanding is that, well, yes, the official party doesn't start until 6. The Jaguars will have a DJ on site. They are doing a draft night hat giveaway. Set the scene for us in terms of what's going on prior to 6 o'clock.
Well, I'll tell you this. There's a few folks out here having a nice lunch. I'm going to sit down and grab myself some grub here in a little bit. Some Jag fans. I just got a cat over here in a Trevor Lawrence half Clemson, half Jag jersey, and they got the music going already. Got some Duval signs hanging up and some banners. So yeah, they're getting it all set up here. It's going to be we're right around the pool. We're at the Lemon Bar. It's going to be a fun time, man. I think they're going to look this. You can get a lot more people in the stadium, obviously, but this is great. This is, like I said, this is Jacksonville, man. So we'll all sit here and hopefully 8:45 we'll get a pick, or Goodell will say there's been a trade or something's going to happen. So we got fireworks tonight, I think. I think we get fireworks. It'll be good.
Maybe for some of the national broadcasts, Dan, we can get some aerial views of that area rather than the landing from several years.
Yes. Well, we won't get any, as you know, Taylor, they'll be going to commercial.
Yeah.
So we got to go to commercial right before our pick, and we'll come back. And here's the commissioner with the Jaguars pick. That's in.
Dan, have you looked at the food menu yet? Because I will tell you, I am a frequent flyer at Lemon Bar. Love that place. And they have really good chicken wings. They also have really good, it's like deep fried banana peppers, and they're delicious if you like something if you like something like that.
I'm all for it. I'll get a little of everything here, man. I got to put it on the boss's tab, so whatever it takes, we'll go heavy here. I hope they got like filet sandwiches or something. That'd be good.
Don't let the boss know that he showed up on camera a time or two. He won't want to hear that.
I like to. He heard you. He just backed out. I like to run it up. On him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, Dan, obviously I was listening this morning as Dave Weidel joined you and pretty much convinced you to leave your Mason Graham stance and join the Ashton Genty truthers out there. If the Jaguars trade back, though, out of 5, let's say the Bears do come up, who would you want at 10? Is that a Tyler Warren selection for you?
It is for me. I'm not big on the McMillan kid. I can't run with a guy who says he doesn't like football. I'm sorry. I don't care when he said it, how he said it. I'll be the one guy who will be somewhat disappointed. I think it goes against everything that they've been preaching for 2 months. So I can't endorse that pick. And so the good news is he'll probably be a great player for the Jaguars because my history has not been good with the draft. So I would be fine with the tight end. Or, again, you could always go offensive line there. Or, who knows, does Mason Graham fall to 10? Maybe, So there are a lot of different – or Jalen Walker. There are a lot of options around 10. And they, too, you can make that trade. You take a risk if you do make that trade. Or you can lock up Ashton Genty and give Trevor Lawrence every chance to be successful, which, if you listen to Weidel, was pretty compelling. And let's not forget that guy can get into the end zone, too. What did he score, like 29 touchdowns last year? So, yeah, certainly. I'm one of those guys. I'm pretty much okay with everybody except the one, I think I would be. But my opinion doesn't matter. It's up to Gladstone to hit us a home run tonight. Come on, Jimmy.
Robert on the YouTube chat says, thank you, Dan. Agreed. So you're making the masses happy, Mr. Hicken. We also have a couple folks who've already texted in to confirm how long you will be at Lemon Bar. We will check back in with you during the 1 o'clock hour. Hopefully some more Googans and Heeligans filter their way to Lemon Bar before
Come on out. Tell him you know Steve. He'll buy you something.
I love it. Yeah, Dan, by the way, 30 touchdowns for Ashton Genty, 29 on the ground, and 1 catching the football. All right, Dan, we'll check in with you in a little bit.
All right, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks you so much.
And by the way, if you do head out to Lemon Bar for the Jaguars official draft party, there will be specialty drinks available.
Ooh.
The Specialist, Game Day Gatorade, and Jagsarita, as well as a limited menu of food for purchase as well as an opportunity if you don't win one of those 2025 draft hats brought to you by Fanatics. You can also purchase one at the Fanatics pop-up shop at the draft party tonight, as well as other Jags merchandise.
Yeah, so Dan will be there for a while. Then Taylor's going to head out there. ET will be there as well. Mia, you're going to head out there. Mm-hmm. So the Lemon Bar, I might have to just pop in, I suppose. It's not a far bike ride for me because obviously parking in that area can get a bit crazy. But they've got valet at lots of different places. All right, before we say hello to Brian Sexton on the other side, who is live up in Green Bay, Pete Prisco tweeted out that the Titans should take Travis Hunter number 1 overall and wait on a quarterback next year. Now, obviously, they could take Travis Hunter number 1 and still get a quarterback later in this draft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if they're terrible again this year, they could take another quarterback next year. Agree, disagree?
I agree. And Dan Orlovsky went out of his way to do the heavy lifting for us. Now, some of these names I'm about to read, we don't know if they will actually declare this upcoming year. But when you consider that next year's draft class, Arch Manning, Drew Aller, Lenoris Sellers, Garrett Nussmeier, he who must not be named, Nico Iamaleava, Cade Klubnik, Sam Levitt, John Mateer, Carson Beck, Dante Moore, Malachi Nelson. That is 11 different quarterbacks who, look, at this point a year from now, we may be saying some of them are trash. Yeah. But that's 11 different names.
We're not Jalen. We don't call people trash.
You could be picking 16th if you're the Titans next year. And there's a chance because of other positional needs on other rosters, you could have a chance at one of those guys if that many of them actually enter the NFL draft.
Yeah, it is an interesting conversation, and I'm sure the Tennessee Titans have evaluated that thought process of getting that playmaker on both sides of the ball, for most people, for 99% of the people, the best player in this draft, and then taking the chance. But to that point, you don't know how those I don't love any of those quarterbacks personally. There's a lot in Arch that I like, but we don't know if he's going to come out next year. We don't know if several of those are. So then you are risking.
And he may have a bad season. We don't know that either.
I know. And that's because this time last year we were talking about Quinn Ewers being probably the number 1 pick and Carson Beck being number 2. And now look where we're sitting. Carson Beck's in Miami and Quinn Ewers is somewhere deep down into the draft.
He's floating out there.
But so to me, you're risking that. And I know there's a lot of questions when it comes to Cam Ward, but if what it seems like, they've evaluated this, they've had them on their private jet and in their restaurants and other things, so they like this guy enough to say that they do think they can get something out of him. How many times have we also said you don't really have to be good in the AFC South to even win? So what if they win 9 games next year and then don't even have the chance to get one of those top quarterbacks?
Yeah, obviously around here we say in James Gladstone we trust, like we used to say in Tom Coughlin we trust. I think for Titans fans, they have to feel very confident in their general manager because he came from an organization that wins a ton in the Kansas City Chiefs. So Mike Borgonzi, you feel like if he's evaluated Cam Ward and believes that he's the answer at quarterback, then I think, yes, you roll with him. And like we always talk about, if Cam Ward looks like a terrible quarterback in the NFL year 1, then you have another bad season. You literally can get another quarterback the next year. But I do think the Travis Hunter at 1 conversation really hasn't been had enough because Cam Ward has been so locked in for the Titans. But if like we talked about in the last segment, if Travis Hunter is a wide receiver 1 or a corner 1, I'm not even going to say playing both ways, and he's a generational player at either of those positions, that's a great guy to have on your roster and then get your quarterback. So I understand Pete's thought process. All right, let's check in with Brian Sexton on the other side, live up in Green Bay with the 2025 NFL Draft will begin tonight. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
Brunell wants to run at the 20 and leaps a defender. Incredible leap over Mike Magruder, who's left holding his jockey shorts.
Jaguars pride forever. 1010XL.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Mia here. People typically start and end their day by paying a visit to their closet. So shouldn't that space feel calm? organized, like a little moment of luxury. That's why I chose Closets by Design. They specialize in custom solutions for every lifestyle and budget. Call them this week to schedule your free in-home consultation and get 40% off plus another 15% off and free installation. Call now at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. Closets by Design. Imagine your home totally organized.
This is the Mangler. Years of playing football coupled with lifestyle left my feet mangled with neuropathy. I was experiencing burning, tingling, and numbness. I spoke with 2 foot specialists and they told me there was no cure. They were wrong. I found Dr. Nate Riddle in Ponte Vedra. After utilizing his neuropathy treatment for only 2 weeks, I noticed a difference in my feet. I was regaining my feeling and balance. If you want relief from nerve pain, call Dr. Nate for a free consultation at Riddle Wellness, 904-395-5598.
The best game day parking in all of Duval is at Tailgaters Parking. Are you ready for some football? Tailgaters is just steps away on the east side of the stadium. Visit tailgatorsparking.com and secure your season parking pass today.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentist and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On April 24, 2004, at the NFL Draft, the San Diego Chargers selected Ole Miss quarterback Eli Manning as the first overall pick. He was later traded to the New York Giants.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Enjoy a great day of golf and support Eagles View Academy Athletics. Friday, May 2nd at the newly renovated Bent Creek Golf Course. 8:30 shotgun start, best ball format. Find out more at evawarriorsathletics.com.
It's heating up at Ride Now Jacksonville. Get water adventure ready with the 2024 Yamaha AR195 boat. With its supercharged engine, innovative design, and water sports features, the Yamaha AR195 is ready for anything you throw at it. Originally $46,000, now just $36,000. Oversized in-floor storage for wakeboards and extra gear, deck and hull design that maximizes space, comfort, and versatility like no other 19-foot boat. Ride Now Jacksonville on Blanding Boulevard. We'll meet or beat any price on all 2024 and prior models.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about not being afraid of the crosses of life. Life can be difficult. Maybe today you're carrying a cross of worry or stress. Let me encourage you to remember that when Christ got on the big cross at Golgotha, he destroyed all the little crosses that we face in our life. He set us free from fear, worry, and anxiety. Our job is not to be carried by the cross, but to be carried by our faith.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Brian, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you as we bring in Jaguar senior correspondent Brian Sexton live from Green Bay. Brian, I feel like it's super exciting to be at the draft, but you also have to think about the fact that you live about 5 minutes from Lemon Bar where the draft party's happening tonight.
Yeah. Listen, it is exciting to be in Green Bay. If you're a fan of the NFL at all, you understand what this place means. However, I think I said this yesterday on Frank's show. What was wrong with Tampa Bay, right? I mean, I would have been just as happy to have had my feet in the sand on St. Pete Beach doing all the things that we're doing. But they're excited up here. It's kind of like Jacksonville hosting the Super Bowl 20 years ago. They don't really have the infrastructure for it. The hotels, the restaurants, they're having to make do. But they're excited about it. They've got a story to tell. And so here we are on a 48-degree day.
And while you've been there before, Brian, ultimately it is a bucket list item for so many, and I'm sure that's why. And you can tell us, since your boot's on the ground, how many thousands of fans have already descended upon Wisconsin and that Eastern Shore, we'll call it.
Well, I got to tell you, I don't see any yet.
Oh, really?
And I've been covering this draft for a long time, and you see the fans roll in the morning of. They're not expecting as many. Last year, 450,000 people were there on night one in Cadillac Square in Detroit. They don't have the ability. The airport's not that big. People don't want to fly into Milwaukee and drive 2 hours and then have to drive back to stay in a hotel because all the hotels are booked up here. There will be, over the course of the weekend, about 300,000 fans. But it's not going to seem, I don't think at least, based on what I have seen already, I mean, it's a kaleidoscope normally on draft day because so many people show up. But so far, I haven't seen anybody but Packers fans.
Brian, we have kind of had this whirlwind of information this week when it comes to that number 5 pick for the Jaguars. And it felt like Mason Graham for a really long time. And now it's Ashton Genty. We've heard some Jalen Walkers. We've heard some Ted McMillans kind of mixed in. In your opinion, if you're looking at that 5 spot, what makes the most sense for you and the Jaguars right now?
Well, they need guys who score touchdowns. They just don't have enough of them. Brian Thomas Jr., obviously, but Christian Kirk is gone. Evan Ingram's gone. Travis Etienne last year fell way off of his production that we had seen the 2 years prior. I think if there's an opportunity to add an elite player who scores touchdowns, you have to take that. And from everything that you've heard and everything that I've been told by friends around the league is that there are 3 elite players, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, and then Ashton Genty. And I spent time with Ashton yesterday. He's an impressive physical specimen. He reminds me a lot of Maurice Jones-Drew just in terms of his physical style, his body composition. And then if you've watched his highlights, you understand that he's a guy who has scored a lot of touchdowns. So that makes sense to me. If you don't stay at 5, if you get an offer to go back a little bit, then Ted McMillan seems to be the name that most people have associated with his franchise. Spent some time with him yesterday, too. Long, really long arms, big hands, tall guy. And the natural observation to make is, well, that could be the Mike Evans of Jacksonville. And obviously Liam Cohen had great success last year. So, I mean, with the new coach and the new general manager, we're having to make correlations between style of play and previous draft philosophy and what the players there represent. I would say at 5, though, it's got to be offense, because if you're going to win this year, it's going to be on the shoulders of your quarterback, not by improving your defense. I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't help, but this is the Trevor Lawrence show. And in order to get that up and running, you've got to give him a couple of weapons that score touchdowns.
Is that the Travis Etienne or the Travis Hunter show there, Brian?
Maybe I slipped. No, I don't listen. I don't know anything at all. Although, again, I'm name dropping all over the place. But most of the big names are here this year, right? At least guys in the top 5. And so Travis Hunter, I asked him, wide receiver, cornerback, are you tired of the question? He said no. He said the answer hasn't changed. I'm doing both. And when you watch him, you think, okay, listen, he's probably the best all-around player in this draft. If you could swing a deal and go up, it's going to be expensive because the Browns have you over a barrel. But if that's the guy you want, you've got 10 picks, you got 2 3s, you've got 2 4s. Make a deal. See what you can do.
Brian, let's say the pick is Ashton Genty at 5. Where would you like the Jaguars to go with that 36th pick in the second round?
You know, I'm such a best available player guy. It's been drilled into my head over 3 decades in this game. If the best available player is a defensive tackle, and this is a deep draft for defensive tackles, I'm told you can find them into the 4th round, then take the defensive tackle. But there's a cornerback need and a safety need, and that top of the second round seems to be where guys like Trey Amos fit. So this is going to sound like a cop-out, Lauren. You know I don't mean it that way. The best available player on the board. And if that's an offensive lineman, take that guy too. This team went 4-13 last year because they have substantial holes in key places. Name a position that you wouldn't want to upgrade other than quarterback and alpha receiver, right? You want to get better at all of them. So if you find a player that makes a lot of sense, it's hard to walk away from any player from this team right now.
Jaguar senior correspondent Brian Sexton joining us live from Green Bay, the site of the 2025 NFL Draft. Brian, let's phrase that question then a different way.
Okay.
What do you think, which of the following do you believe is the most underrated? No one's talking about this need for the Jaguars, but it needs to be addressed before day 2 is through. Edge, wide receiver, or the secondary? Because I think the defensive tackle, if for no other reason than the Mason Graham connection for the last month and a half, and the fact that James Gladstone was very vocal about the fact that they did not sign any defensive tackles because they want their rookies to get out onto the grass early. I think that one we've resolved that yes, at some point in time the Jaguars will have to address the interior of the defensive line. But which of those other 3 do you think they need to address before the end of day 2? The secondary?
The secondary. You saw this group last year. I mean, they gave a big play after big play after big play. I think there's some talent in that secondary. I'm really high on DeAndre Prince. I thought he deserved more time on the field last year, but he just couldn't break into the lineup. I think they've got some guys, but you can never have enough defensive backs that have the length, the swagger, the confidence to play the position. I hear great things about the kid from Mississippi, Trey Amos. I mean, if he's sitting right there, why wouldn't you be interested in that player? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I would say secondary is that, and safety is a spot that you got to get better at also.
Yeah, Brian, I've been kind of banging the table about that secondary too. I'm very underwhelmed by the safety room in general, and now we're going to look at this point in time what Jarrian Jones is going to be able to do across from Tyson Campbell. Tyson Campbell's dealt with some injuries the last couple years, so I do think that is a big focal point. I wanted to ask you about this. I saw a quote from a Jason Leeser. He's he covers the Bears up in Chicago, but he yesterday asked Ted McMillan if he had talked to Jacksonville at all, and Ted's response was, "Man, I don't think anybody talked to Jacksonville unless I'm tripping. Am I wrong? Nobody talked to Jacksonville." I'm guessing that's just more so everything's been kind of held very close to the chest here in Jacksonville.
Well, that was my question, actually. He just took off with it. Okay. I asked him, have you heard from Jacksonville? When you're a reporter covering a team, the first thing you do when you get a chance to get with these guys is ask them what they've heard from the team that you cover. Everybody does it. Bears, Packers, Lions, everyone. So I knew that they hadn't done 30 for 30 visits, but I thought maybe they had talked to him at the draft, and then guys kind of sneak around. There's no moratorium on talking to these guys. They just didn't bring anybody in. His reaction was vociferous. I mean, he exploded with this great big smile. He goes, "Man, has anybody heard from Jacksonville? Nobody's talked to Jacksonville." And his reaction just was he has heard his name associated with this team, and not just in the media. Agents talk, scouts talk, and he had heard all of that, but he hadn't heard from the team. And that's the way they're doing things. And James Gladstone explained it at the luncheon last week. They like to keep as much under wraps as possible. And you guys know, And this is a business about people. It's a human business, and so it's tough to keep everything secret. But if you don't bring 30 guys in, you know what happens? You don't get a lot of speculation. Hey, they brought this guy in first, they brought this guy in last, they brought this guy in, and they didn't bring any other at his position. They can't speculate about what you're doing. And so it gives you some subterfuge. It gives you a little cover for what you're doing. And I thought what James Gladstone said also is they don't want to have recency bias. They don't want to think, well, the last guy we talked to was so impressive. We were blown away by his answers, and just have that starry look in your eye. We got to have that guy. Kind of like if you're going out to buy a car, the last car that you test drive tends to be the one that you want the most because you had the best experience with it. Kind of that same mentality. They wanted to have as detached a process as possible in terms of getting the grade together and fully evaluating the player on who he is, on what he's done, and then what you think he can do, and not let much emotion get into it. I just thought it was funny that Tet's response was so emotional. It's like nobody's heard from Jacksonville.
Does it concern you at all about that interview side of things? Because I know I heard Leon Searcy say yesterday he's not a big fan of them not having that full-on interview process with these guys because they do a lot of times take a good amount of things from those interviews.
You know, they rely on their scouts, and they rely on the people that go and dig on these players. They talk to teammates and the guys that work in the strength and conditioning space and the equipment staff. I mean, there is a lot of information gathering on these players. Now, the one-to-one personal side of things, what a lot of teams have found, and we found it in Jacksonville through the years, is guys come in and they're very rehearsed. And you know what it's like in a job interview. You want to put your best foot forward. So you rehearse it, you practice it, you say the right things. They don't think you're going to get as much information about a player, as much of a feel about a player when you fly them in and put them in a suit and take them around and introduce them to everybody, and it feels so corporate. So it doesn't really concern me. What concerns me is, do they know what they want? Do they have a process, a method for getting the players that they want in their space? And from everything I have been told, and granted, I've been told by people that I know, and I trust them, but is that these guys have come in with a plan, and they know exactly the kind of player that they want. You may have seen earlier there was a report out about how more and more teams are looking at how much guys love football, factoring in NIL, and guys come in with money. Shooter Sanders is a great example, right? He comes in with all the money from his childhood with his father and the money that he's made in Colorado, and does he love football, and does he want to play football? That's a really hard thing to try to decipher. So you've got to have a very specific list of criteria of personality traits that you're looking for in a player that tells you who this guy is. And Leon thinks you get that in the interview, and James Gladstone thinks you get that in the analytics. And so we're going to find out, aren't we? Because this is the first go-around with the analytics driving it. You guys may have heard me say this, but they've gone from the old-school traditional football model to the hedge fund model. These are young, aggressive, data-driven, unafraid coaches and scouts who are willing to turn conventional wisdom on its ear. It's worked in places, and now it is full force in Jacksonville. So I'm kind of excited to see what they do tonight.
Brian, how would you compare Ashton Genty's Player Tribune article and how confident he came off there to you actually getting to talk to him yesterday?
You know, I didn't see the Player Tribune, but he has this – listen, the guy's got $1 million smile. And, you know, some players don't like it when you're doing, you know, sort of the semicircle around them. You guys have all been in that. They kind of – they step from left foot to right foot, and they look over their shoulder, and they're trying – man, he stood right in there. His feet were planted on the ground. He had a huge smile on his face, and he was looking for the next question, not for wanting to disappear. He may have played at Boise State, but it doesn't seem to matter at all. The game, the moment, this here being on the biggest stage in the off season, it hasn't affected him. It's not too big for him. So his production is second only to Barry Sanders. I mentioned that. I said 2,600 yards. He goes, I'm only the second guy to ever do that. And I went, okay, you know who you are and what you've done. I liked it. It resonated with me. I want guys who want the pressure. I want guys who know that it's about production over everything else when you're in professional football. And he certainly embraced that. I like that. It seems also, and I'm just judging this, based on talking to him for 10 minutes. He loves football. He loves the moment, and he wants to be great. Those were all things that I took away from the conversation. So if that's the case, if he's there at 5, I would be completely comfortable with them taking him.
Brian, before we let you go, I do want to just circle back to the trenches, kind of give a primer, if you may. Offensive lineman you spoke to yesterday up at the NFL draft in Green Bay. Defensive lineman, i.e. Mason Graham, if there were any others that were on site. Were there any that you spoke to that you said, if James Gladstone says that the definition of intangibly rich is whatever I think it is, and that is the goal, is to bring in quality starters who are intangibly rich and will elevate the ecosystem, were there any that jumped off the page to you in that limited interaction?
Well, I only talked to 2, Mia.
No!
And,
there he is. Okay. Your call dropped briefly there, Brian, if you could just start from the top.
Okay. I will tell you that I only talked to 2. I talked to Mason Graham, and he's very quiet. The intangible that I took from him was the size of his forearms, which are bigger than most people's calves. I mean, this is a guy who wrestled in high school and was a very good wrestler in California. And he's wide. He's not tall, but he's quiet. And he answered things in 3 and 4 words. So I couldn't tell the intangibles, and it wouldn't be fair for me to suggest that he's not intangibly rich, because maybe he is. Will Campbell, the offensive lineman from LSU, huge. I mean, big guy. I know he's been knocked for his arm length, but he's got broad shoulders and big hips, and I mean, he looks like an offensive tackle. And he was great. I mean, you could tell that he played in a winning program, that he knew what expectations were. He didn't seem too scripted or rehearsed with his answers. He was able to go from questioner to questioner and remember the question, and even got guys' names. I thought he was terrific. So those 2 guys, both of them will go in the top 10. There weren't any other offensive linemen here, and the other defensive linemen were from Texas A&M, and I never got anywhere near those guys. So, just as a aside, it started pouring in the middle of the very limited media time we got. So I got Ted McMillan, Hunter, Mason Graham, Ashton Genty, and that's about it.
So in the 50s and raining. Sounds lovely. Hence why you said Tampa Bay.
Yeah, aren't you guys disappointed that you're not here?
Yes. Live from Lemon Bar today. It's a rough life. All right. So, we're not, but Dan Hicken is, and we'll check with him on the other side, and then we will be at Lemon Bar later. Brian, tell us about the coverage that you've got coming up.
Well, we're getting ready to go, and I'm just as a scene setter, we're driving through a neighborhood, right? And Lauren, I know you know Atlantic Beach. It's like we're driving down Seminole Road, and you just look over the houses through the trees, and you see Green Bay's Lambeau Field, right? I mean, this is such a distinct, unique environment. It is unlike any other in the NFL. They've got radio. I'm just kind of a hit on everything. We've got digital, we've got radio, we've got TV. And we're getting set to go into the media center and get going on all of that stuff. So we'll go all weekend, too, on the digital side of things.
All right. Sounds good. Well, we so appreciate your time. We will be watching and listening. Thank you, Brian.
You got it. Have a great afternoon.
You do the same. Yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. When you're driving through the beaches and it's a residential street, 25 miles per hour, houses on either side, and then all of a sudden there's a stadium. Yeah. I've never been to Green Bay, but I have friends that are diehard Packers fans. Sorry, Taylor. And they say it's an amazing place. It like he said, very unique. Yeah. But it is amazing. By the way, just
boring.
Just to catch everybody up, Albert Breer said this about his final mock draft. Lots of picks he wouldn't have called 7 days ago. Ooh. After the first 4 or 5 picks, the draft promises to be wildly unpredictable.
At least we're to 4. A week ago, we only had 1 and 2.
1, 2. I was confident 1, 2, and 3, but yeah, absolutely. All right, so we will head to the corner of Lemon Street and Midway Street, right on the beach in Neptune Beach, and check in with Dan Hicken. On the other side, you are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This is 1010XL.
Hell, you could say that 10,000 times and it still wouldn't be enough.
It fires me up, man.
I love it. Say it one more time.
This is 1010XL.
Need fresh and flavorful lunch? Chicken Salad Chick has scratch-made Southern-style chicken salad in every bite. It's quick and delicious, so why wait? Come taste the best chicken salad today at Town Center, Durbin Park, or Butler Point at Chicken Salad Chick.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and
and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
Work Zone Awareness Week is a reminder to prioritize safety every time you drive. Road workers are out there improving Florida's highways, and they depend on you to slow down and stay alert. Speeding and distractions put lives at risk, yours and theirs. Let's work together to protect everyone on the road. Remember, when you see orange cones, safety comes first. This is a message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Florida heat is no joke. Is your air conditioner ready for it? At Duck Duck Air Conditioning, we've got a crazy offer just for you. We're giving away free AC inspections to our wonderful customers who now call and schedule. One of our expert techs will come look at your AC unit and make recommendations to ensure it's running at peak performance. But you must act today. A deal this good won't last forever. Call 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Air Conditioning. DuckDuckAC.com. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Tyson Sound & Security has a house built right inside their showroom, showcasing complete home automation and security systems. You have to see it to believe it. This setup can recognize intruders who approach your door and alerts them to leave if there's a break-in. Keep your family safe with the most state-of-the-art technology. Tyson Sound & Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass. He told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm Mac with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, I've seen ads for diamonds where you see the words all diamonds certified by IGI, EGL, or GIA. Just what does all that mean?
Frank, it's confusing because those letters represent various diamond grading laboratories. However, it's important to point out that labs don't certify anything. They issue diamond grading reports. The only entity that can certify the diamond is the seller. There's one exception to that, and that's members of the American Gem Society have the ability to certify diamonds through their partnership with the American Gem Society Laboratory. That's because it's the only partnership in the world where an organization devoted to consumer protection through gemological education and ethics has a laboratory built on the exact same principles. We have these certificates at Underwoods, but more importantly, we have American Gem Society certified gemologists that look at all of these diamonds and put our grade and our certification of the diamond's quality on it. And believe me, that's important.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Your home is your sanctuary, where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence,
From our defense, superiorfenceandrail.com.
Interested in a unique date night? Gibby here. I took my wife Nikki to Wick a Candle Bar. She made her own custom candle right there in the store. Shop local at Wick a Candle Bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by First Coast YMCA. Today's the day that so many have been waiting for, as the 2025 NFL Draft is finally here. The Jaguars have had quite the offseason with new coaching staff, general manager, and even giving Tony Boselli an executive role. There's so much excitement heading into tonight's selection because of the mystery with it. Will they fill a spot in the trenches with Mason Graham at defensive tackle? Will they add a weapon on a young, growing offense with Ashton Genty or Tet McMillan? Will they trade out for more capital or get aggressive and try to trade up for a generational talent in Travis Hunter? There's so many question marks around tonight's draft, making it very exciting. The one thing that is for certain is that 1010XL will be keeping you up to date with draft talk all day long. Keep 1010XL turned up on your radio and head over to the Lemon Bar tonight to watch the newest Jaguar hear his name called. It's 80 degrees at 101, time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you, and we head from 1010XL headquarters back out to Neptune Beach to say hello to our good friend Dan Hicken. Dan,
Yeah.
how was lunch?
Lunch is good. I'm in the middle of it. It's delicious. Having a club sandwich, couple fireball shots to get me going. And we'll see. We're at the Lemon Bar right next to the late great Jim Hicken's favorite place in Jacksonville, Seahorse. He loved to stay there. He used to tell me, Daniel, in-laws are like fish. After a couple days, they begin to stink. Never stay at the house of your son and wife.
Your late great dad was so smart. By the way, for real, have you ever had a fireball shot?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Someone on the YouTube chat line specifically asked, that was the first comment on today's broadcast of Helmets and Heels live on 1010XL's YouTube was, sounds like a lot of fireball shots for Dan.
Yeah. Now, in fairness, those days are gone. But, yeah, back in the day, sure. And I also do a fireball shot every year at the Charity Raising Christmas Cup.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
So we do that every year and salute to raise money for charity. So, yeah. But no, it's great. Listen, a few fans here, lunch crowd, right? This is going to be I look forward to seeing, I won't be here tonight, but we will be here. And I look forward to seeing the atmosphere, because I think this is a great place to have a draft party. If you can't do it at the stadium, this is like the next best place, right? So I think this will be fun.
Did you bring your sunscreen? Because we just talked
It's hot.
Yeah, it looks a little warm. We were just talking to
hot.
Brian Sexton, and it's quite different up in Green Bay, Wisconsin right now.
Apparently Cam Ward doesn't like Green Bay either, if you just saw on social media, ripping the town and the weather and nothing to do, blah, blah, blah. Lauren, the sun burns a little better at the beach, a little brighter, I'm afraid.
That it does.
Even for me, I live literally right over the ditch, right?
Right.
But over here, it just burns a little hotter.
Yeah, we call you people townies.
I know. Damn proud of it.
You can rep at this point Beaches Dermatology, Dan. All right, let's get back to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes.
And we've heard Ian Rappaport, like we said earlier, say that the Jaguars brass wants to be bold. We've heard Jonathan Jones say that they want to be aggressive. If they were to do what E.T. purported that he would want them to do this morning, how would you feel around 8:45 tonight?
I would be a little. Listen, Mia's right about one thing. The Jaguars brass loves Travis Hunter. There's no doubt about it. And they think he and Carter, as most of the league does, by the way, think they're the two best players in the draft. But they see him as an unbelievable receiver and an unbelievable corner. So he could really pick his spots, so to speak. So I would love to get him, but I would rather have lost to Tennessee and got him that way than give up draft capital. I don't think they can give that much up. Not with all. Look, this team was terrible last year. They have a lot of needs. We got a lot of holes to fill, and you guys talked about how Gladstone, he wants to swing the bat, so he wants as many at bats as he can get. I would be surprised. Now, from a bold standpoint, isn't it bold if they take a running back at 5? That's pretty bold, isn't it?
I'd say that's bold, or taking Tet McMillan, who, Dan, you've said you feel like there's some red flags there. And speaking of Tet, RJ, as I look over you, do you have the sound from the Todd McShay podcast? He's going to pull this up. So, editor behind the scenes back here at 1010XL World Headquarters, Dan. Dan's at Lemon Bar. We're at World Headquarters of 1010XL.
Sure.
Trent, our video editor, comes sprinting in here. And I don't know if you've listened at all to Todd McShay, who now has a podcast with The Ringer, formerly of ESPN.
He's doing good. He's a lot more opinionated.
He's trying to get himself back into the NFL nucleus, lexicon, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate Todd's work, and he obviously is very well sourced. He definitely has been more opinionated and has been perhaps a bit more unfiltered. Here he is on his podcast this morning, Dan, and I want you to listen to this and then react.
Okay.
We have only listened to this off Trent's phone, so I think for a lot of our listeners, this will be the first time they hear it too. Here is McShay on the Jaguars war room over the last few days.
All of a sudden, it was like, hey, Liam Cohen trying to order room service. I had phone calls all weekend, got another call when I landed, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, Liam Cohen, new head coach, kind of put his foot down a little bit. And for, right or wrong, he's decided that you brought me in here to fix Trevor Lawrence. Give me the tools in which to do it. And so there's been a lot of talk about Tet McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona, and Ashton Genty, running back from Boise State. Here's what I have for you, okay? I am told on pretty reliable sources it will be an offensive skill guy, and it will be one of those two players, okay? There's been a lot of noise about teams trying to trade up to go get Ashton Genty. He's the hot name, okay? Chicago was one of those teams at 10. Dallas, we've heard a little bit. I don't want to push that too far. I've heard some rumblings about Dallas. Denver, I want to make this perfectly clear. I was close to pulling the trigger on Denver moving up. Denver, if Jeanty were to get past this pick, Sean Payton is eagerly trying to move up to go get an Ashton Genty. Those are all the rumblings that I'm getting, okay? And they're picking at 20. What I'm told is this. If they stay at 5 and don't make a move, it will be Ashton Genty.
What do you make of that, Dan Hicken, especially this idea of, again, and this is Todd McShay of The Ringer, that's his report, that Liam Cohen has put his foot down and said it will be Ashton Genty.
It's interesting because, and you guys are down there more than me, but I remember Gladstone saying something to the effect of, if we don't agree on a guy, we'll move on. So I would wonder how they are about McMillan. And again, for people who don't know, do you like football? No, I don't. Do you study film? No, we study it enough in the with the team, so I don't need to study it on my own. That's not intangibly rich comments. It's just not. And so, and it was a couple years ago, and and Jay Glazer even came out and said stuff about one of the things now that teams are taking kids off the board is if they don't love football, because the NIL money gives them so much coming out of college. If I got $3, $4, $5 million, I may not be, quote, as hungry as I would be without that. And it's a tough game. It's a very tough physical sport that you gotta really love to be the very best. I would shy away from them. I would make a compromise and say we'll take Jeanty at 5.
Yeah. By the way, Dan, I'd also be surprised if not all 32 clubs don't love Travis Hunter.
Right. Also true. Very good point. Yeah. How would you not love him? I mean, and again, but there are those who go over the top. No, maybe it's not over the top. Maybe he is generational. Maybe he will play wide receiver and corner. I don't know if he can play full time at both, but he can play. He's gonna play. Whoever takes him is taking with the knowledge that basically he said, I'm playing both spots. So
all right, Dan, what's coming up for you today?
All right, well, so today I'm going to hang out here, so you can come by and say hello if you'd like at the Lemon Bar. We'll be here till about 2, and then we're going to head over to the television station, get some stuff done, then head downtown, and we'll see, I guess, is Mia going to be down there?
Yes,
Which one
I'll be down there. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll see Mia down there at the Miller Electric Center.
And we'll do live stuff. We got a 1-hour special on TV, I think from 7 to 8 to preview the draft. So a lot of good stuff coming up, both in radio here, of course, all day long. So, man, it's fun. It's a fun day. So if you don't like this day, then, you're probably not listening to 1010. If you like this day, you're dialed in.
Absolutely. All right, Dan.
Lay the money on Jeanty being the 5th pick.
We've been saying it for a while.
I also
just saw some updated odds.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to hear these updated odds. I'm pulling up Hard Rock.
Talk to me.
I'm pulling up Hard Rock right now.
I just saw the tweet of them.
And these are also some sports books that aren't offered in Florida. They're also offered in Illinois. But Taylor, do you have the ones from Illinois?
Yeah, so I have two different ones, and both. So 49 minutes ago, it was the Jags favored to draft Ashton Genty, and now in the last 16 minutes, the Bears moved up to the favorite to draft Ashton Genty at -145, and then Jags are plus 110.
Yeah. I'm not laying on who's picking. I'm laying where he's getting picked.
Right.
I think it's 5.
Yeah. Well, on Hard Rock right now, our good friends at Hard Rock Bet, the team to draft player option specific to one Ashton Genty, the Chicago Bears are now -175. The Jacksonville Jaguars are plus 115.
They think that trade's going to happen, huh?
Mm-hmm. That they do.
Looks like it.
Things are going to... Oh, poor Danny. Danny's going to be out on an... I hope you guys feel for me tonight at 7:30 or at 8:45 when they make the pick, and I'm like, oh, God. Ted McMillan. I'll be the bad guy. I'll have to be the bad guy again. Oh, well.
Freezing cold takes will find you and expose
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
All right, guys.
Bye.
As everyone always says, good luck tonight. It's like none of us need luck. We need James Gladstone, Liam Cohen, Tony Baselli, that crew. We need them to get lucky for sure. All right. So before we say hello to Bob Beler, the voice of Boise State football on the other side, I asked you earlier, Taylor, if you think the Bears had interest in trading up with the Jaguars to the 5th spot. You said yes.
Mm-hmm.
So as we sit here now, obviously we just read the odds. It is your belief, I'll ask, I guess, more of it as a question. Is it your belief that the Bears will trade up to 5 and take Ashton Genty?
So what I know is the Bears want to. They're somebody I work with in Windy City Gridiron, Bill Zimmerman. He said, excellent sources on both sides. The Bears have a deal in place, so they have something in hand that they want to give to the Jaguars to move up to 5 if Genty is there. No details on what exactly that is. And then he also said, but the Jags are wanting to stick and pick at 5. So two sources, and he's very in the know. He knows he's very knowledgeable when it comes to, he's in the Bears world, but has a lot of connections around the NFL. And so he's hearing that. I've heard a lot of people say that Ryan Poles really, really, really wants to trade up for Ashton Genty. The thing that hesitates me a little bit is Ian Cunningham. We were in this situation last year. Ryan Poles wanted to trade up to draft Rome Odunze. Ian Cunningham said, hold up a little bit. Let the board fall to you. We have several players that we like. Let's see if Rome falls. If not, we like one of these other guys. And Ian Cunningham kind of talked him off that ledge. So I'm curious if Ian Cunningham does that again, how many players he has that he thinks is worth drafting at 10 if they do stay.
And this was from a source out in the desert last night. And again, not that the betting odds should dictate where this thing actually goes, but this was from last night. The belief in betting circles is that the Jags move back to 10 to draft Ted McMillan, and then Chicago would take Genty at 5, and that was prior to the odds at Hard Rock Bet and many other sports books across the country shifting here in the last 45 minutes.
What's fascinating is I feel like if you're Mason Graham, this whole time you've been
he's like, hold up.
Like, what am I doing here?
I'm heading to Jacksonville, and then the last few weeks...
He got his shirt already.
Right.
He was ready.
Yeah, and then the last few weeks, Ashton Genty's been like, well, I'm heading to Jacksonville, and now he's like, well, maybe not. I did go to school in Idaho. Maybe I'm headed over to Illinois.
And this is why we also appreciate you, the listeners, you, the Heeligans out there on the text line and on YouTube. Dell let us know that Genty to the Bears, obviously, yes, the odds have now dropped into the negatives when it comes to his odds to go to Chicago. But don't forget that Will Levis was -140 to go number 2 overall the week of the 2022 NFL Draft.
Yeah. All right. Let's say hello to Bob Beler. Certainly knows Ashton Genty really, really well. So if you're a Bears fan, you'll want to be listening. If you're a Jags fan, you'll want to be listening. The voice of Boise State football. He awaits on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Warming up for the real thing.
Comedy, sir.
Comedy. Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
No, this is not comedy.
Start your mornings with a drill.
Comedy is fun. It's antics, hysterical type things.
On 1010XL.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Stop by Stone Core on Phillips Highway for all your outdoor living needs. Let them show you how a durable paver driveway can enhance your home. Visit stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Mia here. I'm just going to cut to the chase. What you really want to know is, Why buy from Arlington Toyota? Well, you're in luck because I have over 800 reasons why. Like the fact that Arlington has over 800 vehicles to choose from, all on one lot, all at Arlington. And here's 60 more reasons, as in 60 days to love your purchase or exchange it for one that you do. Seriously, I know it sounds too good to be true, but it's not. Picture it. You buy it, drive it everywhere for 60 days, decide you love it, or decide you don't and exchange it. Now that is some test drive. And here's even more reasons why, like zero down and just $288 per month for a pre-owned 2022 Toyota Corolla. You can even choose no payments until August 2025. You heard that right. No payments until August 2025 at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Now you know why you need to buy from Arlington. Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Are you thinking about a pool for your home? Blue Haven Pools is Jacksonville's largest pool builder. They've built pools for over 20,000 satisfied families since 2000. It's never been easier to design the perfect pool for your home, family, and budget. Call Blue Haven Pools today at 904-620-0090 to get a free in-home estimate for your in-ground pool, or visit bluehaven.com. Don't let another summer pass by without a pool. Join thousands of happy Jacksonville pool owners in a Blue Haven pool.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Let AA Automotive and 1010XL guide you through the off-season. Who are Jacksonville's top prospects?
I know these players.
Listen for draft previews brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northeast Florida and Hurricane Grill and Wings.
Pizza to Tea here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes through in the clutch? From lunch to late night, only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Stick around after the sunset, and Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Come on, somebody.
There's a lot on the line in a divorce. Your home, savings, maybe even your kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce and the unexpected directions it can take, you need a partner you can count on. I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Don't let divorce take more than it has to.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at cordellcordell.com.
Free Comic Book Day. Hey, I'm Ben Kay, owner of Gotham City Limit, your local comic shop, inviting you to the Community Party of the Year, Saturday, May 3rd. Free comics, free food, huge discounts, and more. Let's take Free Comic Book Day to the limit. Gotham City Limit.
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Jacksonville. Shania Twain. 2 incredible shows. Daly's Place, July 29th, and Due to Demand second show added July 30th. With special guest Mackenzie Porter. New show on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. For more, visit ShaniaTwain.com.
Friendly competition meets great futures. It's the Birdies and Bounces Tournament presented by the Mackenzie Noel Wilson Foundation, Friday, May 9th at the Yards. Where else can a pickleball tournament, 15 holes of golf, food, fun, beverages, raffles, and great activities help a worthy organization like the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida, where 59 clubs serve nearly 6,000 youth daily. For tickets and team registration, email Charlie C. at bgcnf.org.
Hello, Jacksonville. This is John Johnson with First Coast Recycling. We buy junk cars. If you have a car or a truck that you're looking to get rid of, then look no further. If you absolutely, positively have to get that car out of there, accept no substitutes. Fast cash is at your fingertips. Just call First Coast Recycling at 904-294-1659 today for a quick and easy quote. Come on, let's take your driveway back.
It's heating up at Ride Now Jacksonville. Get water adventure ready with the 2024 Yamaha AR195 boat. With its supercharged engine, innovative design, and water sports features, the Yamaha AR195 is ready for anything you throw at it. Originally $46,000, now just $36,000. Oversized in-floor storage for wakeboards and extra gear, deck and hull design that maximizes space, comfort, and versatility like no other 19-foot boat. Ride Now Jacksonville on Blanding Boulevard. We'll meet or beat any price on all 2024 and prior models.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Handoff Jeanty. Jeanty breaks into the clear to the 30, to the 40, goes to the left side. He's being chased by Hill to the 30, to the 20, to the 10-5. It is plenty for Jeanty as he scores another touchdown. The school record, 6 touchdowns, 42-37 Boise State.
Plenty for Jeanty sounds like something that could catch on here pretty quick in Jacksonville. We're joined now by Bob Beler. He's the play-by-play for Boise State football. Bob, thanks for hopping on with us.
Yeah, I was trying to think what game that was from, and then when it was 6 touchdowns, I knew it was Georgia Southern. I mean, he had so many long touchdown runs. Just a pleasure to watch, a pleasure to cover, and looking forward to seeing where he lands tonight. So it very well could be with you folks.
Let's start there. This 15th season covering Boise State football and basketball. Previous to that, you spent 9 years.
Actually, 17th.
17. Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're 17. And then previous to that, you spent 9 years as a director of broadcast at UMass. So if that sounds familiar to people, it's because Liam Cohen was the quarterback at UMass during that time. So we'll get to that in a minute. But I do want to start with Ashton Genty, Bob, because that is the man of the day, the man of the hour. It's a lot of talk about what is going to happen with Ashton Genty. Is somebody going to trade up, or the Jaguars going to stay at 5 and draft him? So we will see how tonight shakes out. But I want to just get your thoughts in general of what it was like covering a player like Ashton Genty. And personally, he was my Heisman vote. I didn't get a Heisman vote, but if I did, he would have been that. But just share a little bit, that 131 rushing yards away from breaking Barry Sanders' record. Just, I'm sure, a pleasure to call those games.
He had a wonderful season, 2,601 yards, led the team to the college football playoff, tough loss to Penn State. I think the thing that impressed me the most was how much he improved. He was very good as a junior, as a sophomore. He was great as a junior. And he had so many long runs. He had so many yards, so much yards after contact, where I think at one point in the season, and maybe it finished that way, he had more yards after contact than the next leading rusher had total. He moved the pile. He hit the hole. He sped away from people. He did everything you would want out of a running back. And I think that any team that takes him is going to be thrilled to have him, because he works hard. He's a good team player. I'm trying to think of negatives, and I can't think of any.
Bob, let me ask you this. The conversation around Jacksonville with regards to Jeanty has been, if you can guarantee he's LaDainian Tomlinson, that he's Walter Payton, even if he's Maurice Jones-Drew in his prime, then that merits breaking the traditional mold of you cannot take a running back in the year of our Lord 2025 with the 5th overall pick. Is he one of those players in your estimation?
I think so. And look what the Giants did. I mean, I know he benefited the Eagles for the Super Bowl, but Barkley went 2, and he certainly had a wonderful career. I think it's the position that you're either good or you're not. And I think that he's good. And I think he probably, a lot of people have compared him to Maurice Jones-Drew, who played for the Jaguars for most of his career. Yes, I think he's that good. I think he's that good of a guy that you want to have in your backfield. And I think that's why you're hearing a lot of chatter of, at first you thought, well, the Raiders going to be the team to take him at 6. And then you heard about Jacksonville at 5. And now you've heard maybe that some teams like the Bears might want to trade with New England at 4. There is a lot of smoke. And for somebody that, maybe was going to go 12 to Dallas, at the start of, after the season was over, I mean, he's moved up the charts, it seems like, every single day. And, you guys at 5 may not have a chance to pick him if somebody gets him at 4.
That is certainly possible. Bob Beler, the voice of Boise State football, with us. Bob, for the past few months, we've obviously been digging into all of these different NFL prospects, especially ones that the Jaguars could take at 5. Tell us something that we don't know about Ashton Genty.
Wow. What do I know that you don't know about Ashton Genty? I don't know. I just think it's how good he is with his teammates and how well he is liked in the locker room and how genuine he is. I think as you deal with him, you talk to him and he's in the room with you, you wouldn't know that he was great. I mean, he's just a regular guy, and he's very good with teammate number one as far as maybe in the play, or teammate number 100. I think maybe that's the biggest thing that I've having seen him play and talked with him and interviewed him, always with a smile on his face, always friendly, always and I'm sure he doesn't always have time for people, but always seems like he does. And I think that to me is the thing that I'll remember how great it has been to deal with him as much or more as it has been watching him play.
Yeah, Bob, there's a buzzword here in Jacksonville since James Gladstone took over, and that's intangibly rich. It sounds like that fits some of the characteristics for that. And going back to something you said earlier, yes, Ashton Genty did have the most rushing yards in football with 2,601. He also had 1,733 after contact, which is second, and Cam Scattaboo behind that with 1,711. So, the after contact yards were still more yards than the next running back had in college football last year, which is very, very wild.
When you were calling his plays, you had to make sure that you didn't give up on something. A lot of times he'd come into a pile and you'd think, okay, it's over. He's got a 15-yard gain, which is a nice gain. And the next thing you know, he splits two defenders and he's got, the rest of the yardage for a touchdown. So 29 touchdowns. I mean, we've had some really good running backs in the time that I've been here. Doug Martin, who was a first-round pick with Tampa Bay, Jay Ajayi, who did well for the Dolphins and the Eagles, had big years here. But Jeanty, I think, is the best running back that we've had at the time I've been here.
Bob, we will want to pivot with you to your experience with Liam Cohen as the voice of UMass previous to your time as the voice of Boise State football. But I do want to ask you about one other prospect, a day 3 perhaps selection for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'm probably butchering his last name, so I'm excited for you to put it on the record for us. Ahmed Hassanin? Is that how we pronounce it?
Ahmed Hassanin. Yeah, it comes from that hotbed of college football, Cairo, Egypt.
Yes, the first ever Egyptian college football player in FBS. Give us a little bit of a scouting report on Ahmed, who certainly has caught some teams' attention, perhaps in the 5th to 7th rounds.
Great motor, a guy that really gets after the quarterback, a guy who has gotten better every single year. I mean, you think about it, he had never played football until he came to the United States as a I think it was a sophomore in high school. And as a guy that, at least in the 4 years he's been here at Boise State, every year has been a better and better football player. Athletic, strong, hardworking, smart. I think he's going to be a good pick for somebody like you say. I wouldn't expect him to go to maybe the 6th or the 7th round, but I think a guy who has put himself in position to make an NFL roster, and I think that he's another great story. I mean, you see now more and more players coming to the United States to play football, and he wanted to play. His half brother was a high school teacher and a high school coach in Southern California, so he came over to live with him, and then ended up getting signed and coming to play at Boise State, and certainly has been one of our better players. And we'll miss him. He led the team. He was one of the team leaders in sacks the last couple of years.
Bob, let's switch over to Liam Cohen, and he's now being looked at this point as taking over the Jacksonville Jaguars head coaching position as someone who is kind of able to elevate quarterbacks. His time with Will Levis, his time with Baker Mayfield last year, and just that modern offensive mind, the understanding of the trenches and running the ball being kind of the root of success for offenses. But let's go back to your time when you were calling some of his games and around Liam Cohen. How would you at that time explain his leadership, his mentality, that football IQ?
Very smart. I mean, just somebody that you knew. He got into the lineup as a freshman. Not a redshirt freshman, but a freshman, and you could just tell that he had the it factor when it came to football. And I think maybe the thing that impressed me the most is when you interviewed him and asked him about things on the field. He was able to explain things so that you could understand it. And I just thought that when you're coaching, that's what you have to do. You have to break things down, and you have to explain it to people. I was blessed the last 3 years. I was not the announcer at UMass for Liam's senior year, but Liam was was UMass's all-time best quarterback in the terms of yards, percentage, touchdowns, and more importantly, wins. My first 4 years at Boise State, the quarterback was Kellen Moore. And those two guys both get head coaching jobs this year. So I had 7 years in a row where either Cohen or Moore was the quarterback. And I'm just amazed at how similar they are. Dads were high school head coaches. Both were players of the year in high school in their state. Went to college in bordering states. Both were offensive coordinators at multiple places, won a Super Bowl, each of them. So you just look at the similarities between the two, and I think while they were good players, their minds and what they understood about the game of football was off the charts. And you could tell, at least I could, from the start that I thought both of those guys would be outstanding coaches in the future. And more importantly, both just great guys that, you would want leading your team. And as I said, I was there 3 years at UMass for Liam Cohen and, got us to the national championship as a sophomore, return trip to the playoffs as a junior, and a guy that, was certainly the best quarterback, in my opinion, that UMass has had, and certainly the wins and the records, show that on paper.
Well, Bob, no pressure on Spencer Danielson, the head coach of Boise, to replace the talent like Ashton Genty.
Yeah, but it's funny. Every year you think that, and I don't think we have Ashton Genty, but I don't think our running game is going to be. I think it's still going to be one of the strengths of the team. There were some other good running backs behind him that worked with Jeanty. 4 out of the 5 starters return in the offensive line. So, I think we'll be all right. I don't think we'll have 2,600 yards and somebody getting number 2 in the Heisman. But, Boise State's still in a pretty good position to be good again.
I thought you were going to say, Lauren, no pressure on Maddox Madsen to become an NFL head coach like some of the other quarterbacks that Bob's called games for.
Well, and he's really sharp too. I mean, he played as a redshirt freshman, and he'll be a junior this coming year. So he's got 2 years left. His dad, much like Moore and Cohen, was a coach. Although his dad's a baseball coach, not a football coach. But you can just kind of see it. He does have a similar personality to both Moore and Cohen, and that you could just tell he's studious and really understands the game of football. And again, the guy that got to get on the field pretty early in his career. So. Yeah, I could see Maddox Madsen following in those guys' footsteps as quarterbacks. As coaches after being quarterback.
All right, well, Bob Beler, play-by-play for Boise State football. We really appreciate your time. I know there's a lot of chatter about Ashton Genty, so it'll be really fun to see how this all shakes out tonight.
Well, I would say that, if the name Ashton Genty comes up at 5 for Jacksonville, that people should be very, very happy, high-five each other, because he will be somebody who will make your team better.
And we'll have Bob, the ultimate link between Liam Cohen and Ashton Genty, on speed dial.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Bob. Have a good rest of your day and enjoy tonight.
Thanks.
Yeah, Dempsey jokingly was like, that'll either be the least played interview of all time or the most played interview on 1010XL of all time, depending on what happens at 5. All right, we've got a very special Terminix Pest of the Day on the other side. We will cool down and hand it off. You are listening to Helmets and Heels. When the draft begins tonight at 8 o'clock, you know to keep it right here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Get Florida Gators play-by-play on 1010XL.
The Razorbacks and Gators wrestle in the swamp for a final weekend series in April. Arkansas, Florida. Friday night, Saturday and Sunday afternoon on 1010 AM.
Lauren Brooks here. It's the Cruise in a Summer event at Hodges Mazda at the Avenues. For a limited time, get up to $5,000 off a new 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred and receive a free 5-day cruise for 2 with your purchase. With off-road capability and the special offer, your summer adventure starts now. Hurry, 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred models are in limited supply at Hodges Mazda. Offer valid on new 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred only. MSRP $32,564. Must trade in a vehicle and finance through dealer to qualify for discount. Cruise and vehicle availability limited. Travel taxes and fees additional. See dealer for details.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers, equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050 or jimersonfirm.com.
1010XL's draft previews are brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northeast Florida. Be a Big.
If Liam Cohen is looking to replicate what he had in Tampa Bay with a pair of talented receivers, the 6'4" Ted McMillan would be amazing to pair with Brian Thomas Jr. McMillan is a possession receiver with the size and ball skills to create big wins deep. He also has a knack for adjusting his routes and working back on throws, which would certainly make Trevor Lawrence's job a whole lot easier.
Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
Who are these new names and how can they help?
Tell me his name again.
Listen for 1010XL draft profiles fired up by Wicca Candle Bar and River City Screens. Roll through the offseason with AA Automotive and 1010XL.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Imagine enjoying the beautiful days of summer in North Florida, relaxing in your enclosed patio, free from bugs and debris. I'm Josh Molina, owner of River City Screens. We are your trusted local screen experts. We pride ourselves in our craftsmanship and our relationships, because with Florida's unpredictable weather, you'll want someone dependable and reliable to show up for you every time. New construction or repairs, call River City Screens, 904-923-3544.
License number SCC 131153483.
Hey, Hicken here. I want to tell you guys about Lift Power. Lift Power, a Jacksonville-based business, been around for more than 50 years, family-owned and operated, and always on the lookout for good folks, experienced lift truck and knock-and-door technicians. The benefits out of this world: 401k, company vehicle, paid training, sign-on bonus. Offers so great. Come see why Lift Power has been voted one of the best places to work for the past several years as well. We want you to be a part of the family. Don't let this opportunity slip by. To learn more, all you got to do is go to liftpower.com. Check them out at liftpower.com.
Do you have clicking, popping, swelling, or pain in your knee or shoulder? This can be due to arthritic changes in your joints. Over time, you have wear and tear of your cartilage. I am Dr. George Bari, and here at Bari Orthopedics, we have numerous ways to treat your arthritis, such as regenerative medicine, including PRP and joint replacements with CT guidance for accuracy down to the millimeter. If you are experiencing any of these symptoms, call us for an appointment today, or log on to BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Cool boats, hot prices at the Jacksonville Spring Boat Show, April 25th, 26th, and 27th at Metropolitan Park. Fishing seminars, kids events, and more. Presented by Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside. Tickets and info at boatjacks.com. That's boatjacks.com.
Attention golfers, Hidden Hills Golf Club is an attractive destination for golfers all over the Southeast. You too will enjoy our classic Arnold Palmer design that will test your game and keep you coming back. Book a tee time at hiddenhillsgc.com.
It's here. Beard's Diamonds' first ever massive sale on all diamond stud earrings and all tennis bracelets.
Now through Sunday at 4 p.m. Save 20%, 30%, even 40%. Beautiful diamond stud earrings and gorgeous diamond tennis bracelets. Perfect for any occasion. Take advantage of huge markdowns. Best prices ever. Corporate-owned big box stores could never offer this extreme value, but locally owned Beards can. And it's happening now through Sunday. Up to 40% off. Beards Diamonds, St. John's Town Center. Shop local. Shop Beards.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Well, there's no cooling down. When it's the NFL draft beginning later tonight, right around 8 o'clock, it's going to be heating up. We've been talking about the rumors all day long. Maybe the Jags trade up. Maybe the Jags trade down. I think at this point, we're throwing our hands up in the air saying, I'm just ready for this thing to start.
Yes. Honestly, driving into the station, I hadn't felt it previous to that, but driving in, I was like, this really is like Christmas Eve because you're waiting all day and you're like, what am I supposed to do during the actual day part besides, I guess, go to work?
And thank goodness for work.
And speculate even more like we have for the last 3 months.
And thank goodness for Lemon Bar, too, where lots of people are going to be, certainly when the Jaguars programming starts at 6 o'clock, but well ahead of that as well. All right, time now for the Terminix Pest of the Day. Like I said, it's a special one. And normally I try to make them funny or I try to throw shade on people who have done bad things. But this one is not that case. As always, brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com, Terminix. If you have any pest issues, termite issues, if you want to get rid of mosquitoes in your yard, you can contact Terminix. They do a fantastic job. And there's a reason that they handle Everbank Stadium and their pests, termites, whatnot, as well as ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, ViStar Ballpark, all the different event venues around town. Today's pest of the day is ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. It is a disease that robs people of their ability to do anything they want outside of use their brain, and their bodies just atrophy. And it's so incredibly difficult to watch. We've seen it with other celebrities in the past, but certainly yesterday when we lost Steve McMichael. Taylor, I'll let you take it away from there because I think most people know who Mongo is. Mm-hmm. Certainly older people watched him play. Yeah. The younger generation may not know just exactly how much of a warrior he was.
Yeah, Steve McMichael was incredible. And obviously this is before that his best seasons were those mid 80s, and I was not alive then. And then he left the Bears and I was only 3 or 4 and then went to the Packers. But it was one of my favorite quotes ever because people always ask him about that. Like, how'd you leave from the Bears and go to the Packers? And his quote said, the last year of my career, I went up there to Green Bay on my last leg. I wasn't any good anymore, so I stole their money and screwed them again. I was like, that's just the type of guy he was. And it makes me really nostalgic. So I was like very emotional watching some of these things because number one, it's devastating. Like his body just deteriorating. He got diagnosed with ALS almost exactly 4 years ago, and watching what he was, he's a big guy, and watching him go from that to what we've seen in this last little bit. I'm glad he was able to get his jacket over summer because that was a lot of people didn't know if he was going to make it to that.
Yeah, but getting to be enshrined, and again, your brain is fully aware. Like your mental faculties haven't changed. So at least, he knew that he got his gold jacket and he was enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and all the 85 Bears kind of being with him in that moment. And it's just incredible. But it brings me back to, like, I wasn't old enough to watch and remember the live games of him, but that is what got me, my late uncle and my late grandpa, that's what they watched. And they would they'd be like, watch Steve McMichael, watch the 85 Bears defense. This is incredible. And he just brought something different. I put a little thing together because he's one of the guys that, number one, he's funny, he's quirky, he's big-hearted, but he also was an absolute beast when he stepped on the football field. And when we talk about bringing that culture and those personalities, it really made me think of a type of player like him.
What you do in life speaks eternal, baby. And don't worry, I'll have some speaks with that home plate umpire after the game. Ooh, I won, I 2, I 3.
You know, a no-nonsense, tough individual. I mean, you'd want him as a teammate in anything he did.
And I think the reason why people are so attracted to him is because he was almost like a superhero, a character out of a comic book. Steve McMichael was a force in nature, but the only thing bigger than his personality was his heart.
You know, anybody that ascends to that level of play, Hall of Fame level, it's a God's gift.
Steve McMichael, 76, was there first to polish him off.
We're the Giant. Everybody wants to be Jack.
Steve McMichael comes up with the football.
That second clip is hilarious because he was singing the seventh inning stretch. He was singing during the seventh inning stretch, and Angel Hernandez was the ump. And everybody knows Angel Hernandez, even back then, had a lot of bad calls, and so he called him out in the game. And it shows, if you watch the broadcast, it zooms in on Angel Hernandez's face, and he's like looking up at Mongo, just like so embarrassed that he just called him out in front of all of Wrigley Field. But yeah, incredible guy. Rest in peace. He's one of something that obviously Bears fans remember heavily. But if you were a football fan and if you talk about defenses at all and one of the best of all time in the NFL, you're going to talk about his name. And that did make me think of I have to head to Lemon Bar, so I'll leave this with you two.
Okay, which is why we need the X-Files music here, RJ. If you've been listening to us since 12 o'clock, you may have heard me call for it earlier. And here it is. Taylor Dahl, leave us with this.
I'll leave this with you guys because now we've had this talk of what the Jaguars do with pick number 5, and we will see tonight. But having a defensive tackle like Steve McMichael completely changed that defense. And if you go back and you watch anything on him of what he created, he helped the linebackers, he helped the edge rushers. Quarterbacks were terrified to go up. If you can get a guy, and I'm not saying a Mason Graham is a Steve McMichael because that's putting a Hall of Fame name into somebody immediately, but if you have that game changer defensive tackle in the middle, they don't even technically have to get to the quarterback. You don't have to get 10, 11, 12 sacks every year because quarterbacks are terrified. They just wreak havoc in that backfield. They, like I said, help all levels of that defense. So I'll let you chat about if Mason Graham's still in this conversation at all, if we've moved on from that. But I know it's going to be still a little bit of a topic of conversation as we go into tonight.
Coming from someone whose team also had Walter Payton.
Yeah.
So there's that other part.
There was quite a few names on that.
All right, Taylor. Well, we will see you at Lemon Bar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff there on Steve McMichael. I couldn't let today's show go on without certainly giving him a lot of praise and like you said, rest in peace. All right, Mia.
Real quick, as Taylor's still she's cleaning up her stuff. She's getting ready to head to Lemon Bar. We're not going to ask you to respond, Taylor, but do just know someone just texted in and they said go off Queen. So they are on board with Taylor doing the full heel turn potentially. And saying maybe the Jaguars shouldn't go running back at 5. They shouldn't go running back in the first round. They should go defensive tackle.
Well, and look, I think we've all been on record. Mia, you've said at one point you said that Mason Graham is the pick at 5.
Yeah.
I have said since April the 3rd when I went on a media mock draft in Vegas, and everyone at that point in time had the Raiders pegged to take Ashton Genty, and I threw them a curveball completely, and I said the Jaguars are going to take Ashton Genty, not because of any inside knowledge, just because that's who I thought the pick should be. And I think Taylor's, been pretty vocal. She has multiple people that she'd be fine if the Jags take. And then we just talked about the Bears potentially moving up. We've also talked about the Jaguars trading up to get Travis Hunter. Right now, it seems to be slightly chaotic, but let's see what Matt Hayes thinks.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Can I start with a scoop?
Sure.
So, to Lauren's point, Mason Graham, at this point in time, most forgotten man, perhaps most polarizing pick. Mm-hmm. I did hear from some other teams picking in the top 10 this morning that he took visits to in the last few weeks, and they were a little concerned about the size. Perhaps, did he take care of his body these last few weeks?
Oh, wow. Interesting.
He was not on Awaken 180 then.
Heavy or light?
Sloppy looking.
Oh, wow.
Was the word that was used to me. So I'm curious because
small hands is what you're saying.
Right. Well, so that's the thing. It's like this person told me that, and then like so I've been like torn the last 3.5 hours since I was told that, and I made it an hour and 48 minutes into the program without mentioning it. But point being that I can't separate the tape from that because ultimately I go back to this is the same franchise, and I love Trayvon Walker, and what he is doing for this franchise goes beyond the stat sheet. But this is the same franchise that said no to the tape of Aiden Hutchinson because of the pre-draft process did not rival that of Trayvon Walker.
Look,
am I just being triggered, or?
No, we also have recent history of the second-round pick who came in out of shape and took an entire season to get in shape. So
that's very true, too.
I think when I hear the fact that they didn't do the 30 interviews That's a little disconcerting to me. And I know they have their philosophical reasons, and they'll explain it. But if I were a GM and I were a coach, I would like to get my eyes on somebody. Look at them direct, face-to-face. Since the Combine, which was at the end of February, now they've got 2 months after they've done, their most important workout for some. Some others, it's in the pro. They're individual pro days, but you're still probably 4 to 6 weeks removed from their pro days. Don't you at least want to visually see what they've done, i.e. Mason Graham, what they've done in the last 4 to 6 weeks? Have they gotten sloppy? Have they lost weight? It's just weird that they didn't do that. That's all I'm saying.
Here's what Jordan Rodriguez, who covers the Rams, obviously, but has close ties now to James Gladstone. The Rams send specific employees to spend a day with players of interest at their college or in their hometown. As long as the visits are within a 50-mile radius of either site, they don't have to be reported to the league and often don't leave. So as long as you've got people that are going to lay eyes on them, to your point, in their hometowns or at their colleges.
I don't understand the 50-mile radius. Say
That's just an NFL rule. As long as the visits are within a 50-mile radius of either their hometown or their college, the visit does not have to be reported to the NFL.
Got it.
So they do have people.
So they don't meet them in Hawaii or something.
That's
No.
Yeah,
So, we had Pat Bryant on the other day, and Pat Bryant straight up said, they met with my high school coach. They talked to my high school, like people from high school, which also matches part of
hometown.
Right, because Jacksonville's his hometown. Now, granted, it's also the city of the team that's interviewing him, which is interesting, but I'm assuming it was not at the facility, and so there's some sort of rules there.
Yeah, so there you have it. What's coming up? Any sort of draft talk?
We're going to talk a little draft. We're going to talk, what do they do with the pick? Do they trade back? Todd McShay let out an interesting little nugget earlier today. When I'm sure you guys have seen it. That he said that
we played it.
Liam
for
Cohen said he's been brought here to put his fist down. Said I've been brought here to make him better. Him being Trevor, and you gotta let me do it. And it's Jeanty or trading back for Ted. So we'll see.
Latest foot down, not his fist. No fist fights yet, at least.
Yet.
All right, Matt, thank you.
All right, ladies.
Enjoy the draft tonight. It comes up in just about 6 hours. Of course, lots of coverage, wall-to-wall coverage from 10
Wall to wall. Move over, local television stations. We are here, and we have you covered on the 1010XL YouTube channel, X, Facebook, our 1010XL Jaguars channel, and so much more. And, of course, a lot of it will also be available on demand in case you have to go to bed, but don't go to bed because the NFL draft is tonight.
And also, Jaguars.com will bring you tons of stuff as well. That'll do it for us today. When we talk to you tomorrow, the Jaguars will have at least one pick in the books. We hope, we think, we pray. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow, but don't go anywhere. XL